Rotten Line TV.
Originally, fans thought that the stranger was Sauron. The way he crashed to Middle-earth in a meteor gave him an otherworldly vibe, and the surrounding circumstances didn't bode well for his character. His fire wasn't hot and the snippets of language he used both pointed toward evil. Fans weren't alone in their predictions, either. It wasn't long before three evil figures started trailing the stranger's movements. In the finale, the three white-robed witches, the ascetic, the nomad and the dweller, finally voiced what a lot of fans were thinking: the stranger was Sauron. They explained that he couldn't remember his identity because the Valar had placed a veil over his mind. It was supposed to be a way to prevent him from doing even more evil in Middle-earth. Yet, they were mistaken because the stranger wasn't Sauron after all. If he wasn't Sauron, and the Valar hadn't put a veil over his mind, there must have been another reason he couldn't remember anything. What is an ISTAR? The White Cloak cultists, before they got destroyed by the stranger, finally admitted that he wasn't Sauron. In doing so, they said that he was an ISTAR. In Middle-earth terms, that means a wizard. In the history of Middle-earth, there are 5 ISTAR, known collectively as the Istari. These are Saruman, who was their leader for the majority of their time, Gandalf, Radagast, and the 2 blue wizards. The Istari are Maiar, servants of the Valar. They were sent to Middle-earth to combat evil, specifically to stem the rise of Sauron. Of course, not everything went to plan. Saruman became Sauron's lieutenant, assisting him in the War of the Ring with his own army of Uruks. Radagast, meanwhile, became distracted by his own interests, and was largely absent from the effort to defeat Sauron. The Blue Wizards, too, did not end up becoming involved, and remained in the east of Middle-earth in Rhûn and Harad. Only Gandalf fully lived up to his purpose, and when he was killed by the Balrog Durin's Bane, he was sent back to Middle-earth once again by the Valar to complete his task, becoming Gandalf the White, the leader of the Istari. Though it hasn't been confirmed, all the clues point to the stranger being Gandalf due to his relationship with hobbits, his links with fire.
Forgive me. I mistook you for Saruman.
I am Saruman. Rather Saruman as he should have been.
You fell.
Through fire and water. From the lowest dungeon to the highest peak, I fought him, the Balrog of Morgoth. Until at last I threw down my enemy and smote his ruin upon the mountainside. Darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time. The stars wheeled overhead, and every day was as long as a life age of the earth. But it was not the end. I felt life in me again. I've been sent back until my task is done. Gandalf? Yes. That was what they used to call me. Gandalf the Grey. That was my name.
Gandalf.
I am Gandalf the White. And I come back to you now. At the turn of the tide.
From that explanation, it makes perfect sense why Gandalf wouldn't remember much. He had left the confines of time, re-embodied his Maiar form and been thrust back into the mortal realm. That doesn't bode well for remembering minutiae. Now, compare that to what happened to the stranger. He had crash-landed in a meteor, which would be pretty dramatic for anyone. On top of that, though, this was his first time being thrust from the mare world into a mortal form. So, just like Gandalf in the Two Towers, it makes sense that the stranger would be a bit fuzzy on things.